her eyes softened at that. For a moment, she wanted to tell him everything, the nights she cried silently beside Lily's bed, the guilt of not being enough, the endless fear of losing what little they'd built. But instead, she simply nodded and gathered her things. Outside, the city lights glowed softly in the winter air. Anna pulled her coat tight and walked to the small apartment she now called home. Inside, Lily was waiting on the couch, a blanket around her shoulders and a drawing in her hand. "Mommy, look," she said excitedly, holding up her art, a picture of the three of them at a park, smiling. Anna frowned slightly. "Sweetheart, why is Mr. Daniel in the picture?" "Because he's our friend," Lily said innocently. "You always smile when you talk about him." Anna couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, honey, he's just my boss. But yes, he's a kind man." Still, the picture lingered in her mind that night. Maybe Lily saw something she didn't, something she was too afraid to believe in. Weeks passed, and the company announced a community event, a charity dinner for families in need. Anna was asked to help organize it. She poured her heart into the project, remembering all the people at the shelter, the mothers who still whispered hope into their children's ears despite the hunger. She wanted to give back, to become for someone else what Daniel had been for her. The night of the event arrived. The hall glowed with soft lights and laughter. Anna moved between tables, greeting guests, helping serve food. Then she saw a young woman sitting quietly in a corner with two small boys, their clothes worn, their eyes filled with the same quiet hunger she once knew too well. Anna's heart ached. Without hesitation, she went to the kitchen, filled 3 plates, and brought them to the table. "Please," she said warmly, "you're our guests tonight. Eat as much as you like." The woman looked up, startled, and whispered, "I can't pay." Anna smiled softly. "It's not about payment. It's about care." In that moment, she realized she was repeating Daniel's words. It wasn't charity, it was humanity. As she turned around, she found Daniel standing near the doorway, watching her with quiet pride. "You remembered," he said softly. Anna blinked. "Remembered what?" He smiled. "That kindness doesn't end with one act. It keeps moving, through the people it touches." She looked at him, her eyes glistening. "You taught me that." Daniel shook his head. "No, Anna. You taught yourself. I just passed you the plate." The words hit her heart like a gentle wave. For so long, she had carried the weight of her past, shame, loss, fear, but in that moment, she finally saw herself not as a survivor, but as someone strong, capable, and worthy. Months passed. Anna became one of his most dedicated employees. Lily started school, and for the first time in years, they had a home again, small, but filled with warmth and laughter. Daniel often stopped by their desk with a smile, pretending to need help with a file just to check in. One snowy morning, as they were decorating the office for Christmas, Lily ran up to Daniel holding a little card. It was drawn in crayon, a stick figure of a man, a woman, and a girl holding hands under a big sun. "That's you, Mr. Daniel," she said proudly. "You gave us breakfast, and a new life." Daniel felt his throat tighten. He smiled, kneeling down to her level. "No, Lily," he said softly. "Your mom did that. I just passed you the plate." Anna stood nearby, tears in her eyes. In that moment, the small diner morning that began with hunger and hopelessness had turned into something far greater, a reminder that a single act of kindness, even as simple as sharing breakfast, could change the course of an entire life. As the camera fades on Anna and Lily laughing together in their new home, a soft voice narrates. Sometimes, the smallest kindness can rewrite someone's story. You never know whose world you might change, just by noticing the little girl staring at your plate. The months after that rainy morning rolled by like pages turning in a new book, slowly, quietly, but full of meaning. Anna often thought back to that day in the diner, when a stranger's kindness had opened a door she didn't even know existed. Every morning, she woke early, made breakfast for Lily, and walked her to school before heading to her new job at Daniel's office. For the first time in years, life had a rhythm that didn't feel like survival, it felt like living. But even as life began to heal, Anna carried invisible scars. She worked tirelessly, often skipping lunch, afraid of losing everything again. Every paycheck felt like fragile proof that she and Lily were safe. Yet deep down, she never stopped worrying, what if it all vanished again? Daniel noticed her determination, but also her distance. She was polite, hardworking, and reliable, but she kept her walls high. Whenever he offered help or praise, she'd smile softly but step back, as if she feared kindness might demand something in return. He understood. Trust wasn't something easily rebuilt after years of hardship. One evening, after most employees had left, Daniel walked by her desk and saw her still working, eyes tired but focused. "You should go home, Anna," he said gently. "Lily's probably waiting." Anna looked up, startled. "Just finishing a few reports," she murmured. Daniel smiled. "Those reports will still be here tomorrow. Your little girl won't always be." After a long pause, Anna whispered, "Thank you." Her eyes glistened as she cut the pancakes for Lily. The little girl's face lit up, joy washing over her like sunlight after a storm. She took her first bite and smiled wider than she had in weeks. But Daniel couldn't keep pretending. He finally spoke up. "It's all right," he said gently, meeting Anna's eyes. "Please, let her eat. I insist." Anna froze. Her lips parted as if to say something, but the words got lost in the lump in her throat. I can't accept charity," she whispered. Daniel shook his head softly. "It's not charity. It's breakfast. And everyone deserves a warm meal." Anna looked at him for a long moment. Something about his calm, sincere tone broke through the walls she had built. She smiled faintly, though tears welled up in her eyes. "Thank you," she said again, this time with a voice that trembled from both gratitude and pride. As Lily ate happily, Daniel asked, "Are you two new around here?" Anna nodded. "Just arrived last week. Things have been difficult. I'm looking for work. We've been staying at the shelter down the street." Daniel's chest tightened. He had seen people struggling before, but hearing her say it so quietly, without bitterness, just pure resilience, moved something deep within him. They talked a little more as Lily finished her breakfast. Anna told him about losing her husband 2 years ago, about how she had been working 2 jobs until the company she worked for closed down. "I didn't want to bring her into this life," she said softly. "But I couldn't leave her behind." Daniel listened quietly, every word sinking in. When she got up to leave, she thanked him again, clutching Lily's hand tightly. "You've already done enough," she said when he offered to help further. "We'll be fine." She turned to walk out into the rain, but before she reached the door, Daniel noticed something. Lily was glancing back at him again, this time not at the plate, but at his face. She gave him a small, pure smile and waved. Something inside him told him this wasn't the last time they'd meet. That evening, Daniel couldn't focus at work. He kept thinking about them, the quiet strength in Anna's eyes, the innocence in Lily's smile. The next morning, he drove to the shelter she mentioned and spoke to the director. "There's a woman here named Anna," he said. "I'd like to offer her a job." Within a week, Anna was working at his company's small local office. She was hesitant at first, thinking it was pity, but Daniel made it clear, "I saw how you looked at your daughter, how you tried to hide your struggle. That kind of love and strength is what every company needs." The rain poured outside the dimly lit diner, tracing silver trails down the foggy windows. Inside, the smell of fresh coffee and grilled sandwiches filled the air. At one of the corner tables sat a woman in a faded blue jacket, her hair damp from the cold. Across from her was a little girl, no older than 6, her big brown eyes darting from her mother to the plates passing by. The woman, Anna, kept her head low, nervously checking her wallet as if hoping the worn leather would somehow produce another dollar. The waitress smiled politely, but Anna's eyes carried the quiet panic of someone trying not to be noticed. She had ordered only 1 cup of coffee, for herself. The little girl, Lily, had been sitting still, trying to be good like her mother told her. But when a man at the next table received a steaming plate of pancakes, eggs, and sausages, Lily's eyes locked on it. Her tiny stomach rumbled audibly in the silence between the clinking of plates. The man noticed. He looked up from his phone and caught the gaze of the hungry child staring at his breakfast as if it were treasure. Anna quickly realized and whispered, "Lily, look away, sweetheart." She gently turned her daughter's face back toward the window. Her voice cracked slightly, but she tried to smile. "We'll eat later, okay?" She didn't know the man had heard her trembling voice. His name was Daniel, a businessman, sharply dressed, a man used to having more than enough. But that morning, something about the woman and the child struck him hard. Maybe it was the way Anna clutched her coffee cup like it was the only warmth left in her life. Maybe it was the little girl's eyes, so innocent, yet heavy with quiet hunger. Daniel hesitated for a moment, debating with himself. Then, as he took a bite of his food, he noticed something even more heartbreaking, Anna sliding a small paper napkin toward her daughter, folding it as if pretending it were a toy. She was trying to distract the child from the food. When the waitress passed by, Daniel leaned in. "Excuse me," he whispered. "Can you bring another plate of the same breakfast, and maybe a hot chocolate, extra whipped cream? But, don't tell them it's from me." The waitress smiled softly. She had seen this kind of kindness before, but rarely with such quiet compassion. A few minutes later, the waitress placed the plate in front of Lily. The little girl's eyes widened in disbelief. "For me?" she asked, her small voice trembling with both excitement and confusion. The waitress smiled. "A little mix-up in the kitchen. This was meant for you, sweetheart." Anna immediately shook her head. No, there must be a mistake, we didn't order this." But Lily's eyes were fixed on the food, her hands trembling as she reached for the spoon. Daniel looked down at his phone, pretending to be busy, not wanting to embarrass them. As the night went on, laughter and music filled the hall. Lily played with other kids, her smile bright as ever. Daniel walked over, holding 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to Anna. "I figured you'd still like it black," he said with a grin. She chuckled. "You remember. How could I forget? That's the same cup you held the first time I saw you." They both fell silent for a moment, their eyes meeting with quiet understanding. Not everything needed to be said aloud. The connection between them wasn't built on pity, it was built on shared humanity, respect, and unspoken gratitude. Later that night, as the guests began to leave, Anna stood by the door, waving goodbye to the families. When she turned around, Daniel was still there, helping clean up. "You don't have to stay," she said. He shrugged. "Neither do you." They both laughed softly. As they stood there among empty tables and dimmed lights, Daniel said quietly, "You know, when I saw you that day in the diner, I thought I was helping someone in need. But it turns out, you helped me more than you'll ever know. You reminded me that compassion still matters." Anna felt her throat tighten. "And you reminded me that hope isn't dead," she whispered. "Sometimes it just comes disguised as breakfast." Daniel smiled, the kind of smile that holds years of meaning. "So," he said, "what do you say we keep passing plates, together?" Anna looked at him, the man who had once been a stranger, and nodded slowly. "Yes," she said softly. "Together." The camera fades on the image of Anna, Daniel, and Lily standing in the softly lit hall, 3 lives once bound by chance, now connected by kindness.